How's it going, Aries community? You know who it is. It's Soul Tigress with a special story for this wonderful frequency. First off, let me start by saying thank you. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your patience as I navigate this story between the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and everything in between. Now, keep in mind that this is a safe and sacred space where we call in the angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy to come on in and be the guides and protectors of all the positive messages that are going to come out. Now, with that being said, let me express that this is not a love tarot channel. This channel is based around self-empowerment. And what that means is building the stepping stones to get closer to our soul being, which helps align us with a higher source of energy. So, Aries, let's go ahead and get started with the vibe for y'all. So, unpredictable, wanting to escape, grounding out in nature could help you calm down, Aries. Stuck in the middle of something, you may need to make the first move to get the ball rolling of change to come about. Being truthful to yourself and others could lead to something that you are afraid of, but actually may be reflecting the same thing. And what I get is we've all had situations where we assume the worst, especially when it comes to other people. We assume that we are so awful because we feel a certain way or we see something a certain way. But finally, when we get the courage, usually sometimes it takes months for it to come out. It could even take years. But when we get the courage to talk about it, we find out that someone else we were worried about how they were going to feel about our truth, they actually felt the same way. You've had that happen. I've had that happen. Everyone has. And that is what this is expressing with that last sentence, that you may just open up with your truth and being honest with it, and you may find that somebody else feels the same way. Now, anxieties will not ease up at this moment. Just know everyone makes mistakes, Aries. It's the steps that you take after that count the most. Now, you are really worried about the opinions of these others, what these others are going to think, what these others are going to say. Just know, Aries, at the end of the day, you can't change that, nor is it any of your business. What? I mean, we live in a society where we think that we have to appease others' opinions all the time. Like, what others think of us is what determines us. No, that's not what determines your character. I honestly read in a book a long time ago that others' opinions about you are none of your business, whether they're good opinions, whether they're bad opinions, because what you do in your truth with your purpose is between you and the divine. And I quote, they only know what they think they know. And that was an ancestor coming in with that. They don't know everything. They only know what they get little snippets about, and then you know what they do. It's like that game they used to play back in the day called telephone. By the time you get to the end of whatever you told one person, it's been miscubobulated into something else. And that's kind of just what's happening here, okay, Aries? If you go check out that new moon, full moon interpretation for this time around, it really speaks upon that, especially when it comes to your energy Aries. Did you know that the god Aries had the parents Hera and Zeus, and Hera and Zeus did not really care for this offspring? Their opinions about this offspring were their opinions, and there was nothing that Aries could do about it to change their opinions. And that's one of the biggest lessons this month. If you want to go into a little bit more details on how these energies of the new moon, full moon in Libra, new moon in Aries is playing into everything, again, go check out that new moon, full moon interpretation for this month. But let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get started with the introduction using the Chakra Wisdom Oracle, Spirit Guides, and Angels. What is it that needs to come out for Aries? I get that you're trying to keep yourself busy to avoid something. Could it be avoiding on speaking upon something? Because this is the throat chakra here. There's something that's not being clearly communicated, I should say. And then something you're not seeing is wisdom. There's wisdom in how you feel. There is. A lot of times we want to deny these new ideas, these new feelings, these new ways of going, because we feel like everything has to stay the same. And we get stuck as human species on that word forever. We feel like things should last forever. Not even the seasons in our lives last forever. Everything needs a break. Things need to bring in something new. Something needs to be put to sleep, buried, something needs to be harvested from. It's just the different seasons represent different sides of life for us. And again, nothing stays the same forever. All right, what else needs to come out? You're also not seeing some passion. Could be passion for others that you have here. Maybe there's something here that you really want to present, and it comes hidden from you. You hide yourself from it because there's a fear of change. We got this sacral chakra here. When it's in balance and everything's going good, it's joy, it's passion, it's healthy relationships, creativity as well. But when it's out of whack, it's stuck. It's lack of creativity, emotional instability, sexual dysfunction, and fear of change. But there's something here that needs to be presented to another. And this other could have been somebody that you've known for quite a while. So I have completion again, and we got this sacral chakra, something that you're at odds ends. I feel like it's something that is a big void within you. It's something that you don't know how to put an end to. You don't know how to let go. You don't know how to take the memories with you that you've created with whatever this is, person, place, or thing. And then we have enlightenment coming in at that solar plexus, that self-empowerment. Then isolation. In reverse with the throat chakra, and dissipating in reverse with another solar plexus chakra. You could be running into some kind of digestional issues, could be constipation, could be more acid reflux kind of things, more cramping. It's a lot of stuff that's happening in those lower chakras. Now remember that this is always for entertainment purposes. This is just my opinion. Always seek out professional advice, people who are trained, people who have doctrines, etc., etc. I'm just picking up what I am feeling. And if you notice that your bowels have been off, it could be again that you are trying to run from a situation. And so when we do that, we try and freight train through life. And at those moments, we're not really taking care of ourselves. We're not drinking enough water. We're not eating enough good, nutritious food that has fiber and stuff. You could be stopping and getting fast food more often, or going to the convenience stores and picking up a hot dog or something just really quick, and not really taking into consideration that you need better nutrients for your body. Then you add stress on top of that. And as I've mentioned before, those stress hormones wreak havoc on us. And if you want to go into more of my scope of practice, when you run stress, you will start to hold your body in certain ways. You'll keep tense in certain areas, which is going to bring on more tension, more pain in your body as well. This could be why getting out in nature is going to help ground you out a little bit. Maybe not isolating yourself off from your thoughts, but allowing yourself to kind of go through one thing at a time with how you feel, how things are turning out. I'm being led to use the example going on walks or even a small run. You don't have to run to do it the fastest. A light jog or something. A lot of people who do running or who do walking, bicycling, such activities like that, they like it because it gives them time to start to clear their thoughts. It gives them time to work things out. I think it was either Einstein or it was Mark Twain who would play the violin. I'm leaning more towards Mark Twain for some reason. Maybe not Mark Twain. Mark Twain might have been Einstein, but one of them would play the violin, and they would play they would like to play this instrument when they got stuck on formulas, solving problems, and they couldn't move forward. And in studies, it shows that instruments, strings, percussion, brass type of things, even keyboards, pianos and stuff like that, it will highlight different parts of our brain. And that person in particular would play the violin to help work through the formula or the problems, or coming to the conclusions that they were searching for whatever it is that they got stuck on. So right now, running and trying to busy yourself with work stuff, it's just adding more to the shoulders. We need a place where you can work it out and start exploring it just little by little. And I feel like when you get out in nature, because look at how this enlightenment is out there, you may just come to a new perspective, a fresh perspective, because look at this child here. Child energy is of new, it's of freshness, and you might just get something that connects you to the divine a little bit, something that you see. But it takes you getting out, it takes you exploring here, Aries. So let's go ahead and go into the present. What is it that needs to come out of the present, divine and universal energy? What needs to be expressed? Well, when it comes to letting something go, ooh, I feel like this is kind of saying you don't have to be sneaky about stuff. I don't know why I get that sense, but with a magician, magicians can be sneaky. They can create illusions. And I feel like for you here, you don't have to... It's creating some kind of illusion that everything's okay by staying busy. Because I feel like this illusion is just fading you out into the background of what's really happening. I don't know if you can see that person. That's way back there. That's what I'm getting. And this lands on the dissipating and the completion here. I feel like the more you do that, the more you block whatever this lesson is. You're tricking yourself. That's what that's saying. And then we have a Four of Swords energy here. You keep tricking yourself back to some kind of illusion. Usually Four of Swords is stuck, stagnant energy. Could have to do with sickness, illness as well. And when I was cleansing the clarification deck, the Four of Swords kept coming up at least 3 to 4 times here. So I'm glad that it comes out here. It's... I don't know. I just feel like your heart isn't here anymore. Your passion isn't here anymore. If anything, what's here is just the... It's just the work that you're doing to keep the illusion going. To keep some kind of image going here. Could be some kind of image of success. And then we have a confused Queen of Pentacles. This could be something that you're isolating yourself off to, something that you don't want to see go. Whatever this Queen of Pentacles energy. This energy has been something that's been very stable for you. It's definitely helped turn some ideas into reality, I want to say, for you as well. This one has been a good part of your life in a sense. It's a provider as well. But there's something about this time here. Something about this time, and it's stable. Whatever this energy is, it's stable. It's going with the program, but it's very bland. It's like it's not exciting. There's nothing new that's going on. The routine almost has been the same, and this is what you're confused on, because what I get is whatever this is, it's no longer igniting you like it could have been. It could have been exciting to be here, so exciting. There was so much to offer, and you know, you could have been excited and really happy at one time with how stable it was, how concreted it was in its foundations. Something has happened though. Something has happened. It's been an unmatching. Oh, we got King of Swords, King of Wands here that fall on top of the Magician. This Four of Swords, this dissipating, and this Queen and this isolation. King of Wands, older person, can be a teacher as well. Really good looking, really likes to take care of their appearance. I feel like also take care of the things around them. But this King of Swords has been very busy type of energy. Building. This one way, this way that has been taking them up to the top. But these two sides of you, this is what you don't understand. This is why they fall out onto this Queen of Pentacles energy. In your thoughts, you know whatever this is, it isn't horrible. It isn't the thing, you know, that you would up and leave. Others would want it. Others would appreciate it. Others would wonder why, what the hell, what are you thinking kind of thing. But this King of Wands in this confused position, almost like falling just like the Magician, but just not in reverse. It's opposite of the Magician in a sense. It's like, what I'm getting is your nodes here. This is kind of like North Node, South Node energy, and that's what these new moon, full moons represents, is South Nodes and North Nodes. And right here I have your, you would say the Magician would be your South Node at this moment, where you are creating these illusions to keep up this image. But where you need to go is where this King of Wands is at, is in the North Node. Following the intuition, following your passions, following the charisma, following the guidance, following the flow of life, and understanding again that an image, an outside image, is only a small part of what everybody's opinion sees. That's what I get there. All right. What else needs to come out for the present? Did y'all see that? That was so cool. We're afraid about something turning off here. Something. Yeah, 5 of Wands. So we go from 8 of Wands to 5 of Wands. Both in reverse. Wand energy is usually a lot of conflict, a lot of boundaries. And what I hear, it's really hard to stand up and say how you're feeling at this time. It's hard to sit and like it's hard to sit in your throne when it comes to you talking about what you need to do in your kingdom. That's what I get. I also get that you really don't want to put conflict in whatever this area, this place in your environment that you frequent a lot. It could be your work, it could be your home. And this could be something that affects even both things, your work and your home. What else needs to come out for the present? Yeah, this has to do with, look at that. Now we have the 7 of Wands. And the Empress. In reverse, the Empress. The Empress, that's Taurus energy, that's Venus energy, that's Libra energy. Talking about I have and I balance. Venus talks about the things that we relate to and what we love as well. There's something here that you're not relating to. There's something here that you're not loving. You're not finding. Empress talks about good fertility. And fertility isn't just about making babies. Fertility could be having good ideas, new ideas, feeling bountiful, where you're at. It also talks about a good relationship between parent and child. I feel like you isolate this idea, you isolate how you feel, you isolate off what you're really passionate about right now from yourself for this community. Now, with the Empress being in reverse, I feel like you again are self-sacrificing yourself here for this community, for whatever this is. And you feel like it's the plunge to take. It's what you're supposed to do. This is what is ideal. This could be something about social standards, because again, you come out as a magician in reverse with trying to keep up an illusion, but then you have two kings that follow. These kings aren't in reverse, so this definitely feeds into how people are viewing you, could feed into the social standards when it comes to being successful. And again, this outside image is really important. That's a lot here. That is a lot here when it comes to your present. This is something that you're going round and round and round, but I feel like you do the most to try and escape it. That's why you're working so much. But I mean, let's be for real, Aries. If you're working so much to avoid how you're really feeling, then you're already taking yourself from this community in one way. You're taking your passions, you're taking your motivation, you're taking your light, you're taking your love. In a sense, you could be taking away your guidance for however you influence this community, because there's wisdom here as well. A lot of people learn from the examples that we set, and you have many chairs here. And one of the things I mean about Aries is being able to embark on new adventures. You are the birth of awareness. It is in your sign to learn more about yourself by opening up to the new things that can flow into your life. Specifically, the things that you are passionate about. Again, we rely on that word forever too much, thinking that that is a must here. But again, certain seasons don't last forever. Certain phases in our lives don't last forever. Our 20s don't last forever. Our teens don't last forever. Our childhood doesn't last forever. Our 40s don't last forever, etc., etc., etc. And sometimes we grow apart. We outgrow. We are called to something different. It doesn't mean that everything that comes to an end has to be something that is done by betrayal. It doesn't have to be done by deceit. Being able to acknowledge that you have reached what you were meant to reach here is one of the biggest things in evolution, because the strongest always survive by continuing to adapt, to be flexible, to be open to the changes that are coming about. The ones who want to stay doing the same thing with the same kind of tools sometimes can struggle, sometimes can go without. So you have to Remember that. And right here, Aries, one of the things about your signs is about war, it's about conflict, and it's about sabotage. You're at war with yourself in this conflict, and you're sabotaging. You could be sabotaging this community. You could be sabotaging yourself. Well, how does that happen when you're trying to do the best for everyone and you're self-sacrificing? If you're not happy, if you don't want to be there, you feel like it's not the place that's aligning with you anymore, this person, place, or thing, then you are already taking yourself out of there. Just to be there, in a sense, you are checking out. You're going into autopilot. You don't have the same excitement, enthusiasm as you did once before. Think about that. And that is the vibration that is going to be felt. Not just for yourself, but for others as well. Think about it. When you got a disgruntled employee, before they were disgruntled, the vibe was different. But then when something happened and they became disgruntled, the vibe changes. They can change the vibe just by their disgruntledness. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Don't forget about that one. That's okay. You know what? A lot of us think it's wrong for change to happen. Again, we get stuck on that word forever. But then if nothing changes, how do we learn new things? How do we set the examples for those future generations to be truthful with themselves? I mean, at the end of the day, I like to do this. I did this for Capricorn one time. I'm going to tell you. I want you to pick one of these other chairs. You sit here. But I want you to pick one of these other chairs. And whoever you pick, I want you to pretend that they're coming to you with the same problem. And I want you to give them the best advice that you would give them. And I want you to sit there and I want you to take in that advice. What would you tell your offspring to do? What would you tell your little cousin to do? What would you tell your little brother to do? What would you tell your parent to do? You know, what would you tell your spouse? Think about it. Think about it. Sometimes we have to parent ourselves. Sometimes we have to give ourselves our own advice. And it takes some time sitting there and thinking about what we would tell somebody we really care about. What would be the advice we would give them? Let's go ahead into the block. Angels, angels, angels of protection. I call you into the Aries frequency as we navigate the block. I ask you to protect us from any energies that are not good for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't make this up. This lands on this one. Yeah, it's kind of like what we just talked about. The Hermit here in reverse depicts trusting of others. In upright, it talks about trusting of yourself. So here in reverse, this trusting of others, doing what you think is best because you feel like you have to kind of thing, is the thing that is inescapable when it comes to you having a moment to yourself. Remember, you're running from these thoughts. You feel like the bad guy for even having these thoughts. It's 8 of Wands. I feel like you question, how did everything kind of end up this way? Where did you go wrong? Did you go wrong? You were showing up. You were doing the most. You brought in a lot of different sides to you when it came to working on this, whatever it was, for years. And then I have this moon energy. It's like you can't believe that this is happening. You can't believe that this is how you're feeling about this situation. The situation you've cared about. You've cared about for a really, really long time. You really felt like your path, your alignment with this person, place, or thing was something that was gonna go on. You look around and you knew that that's where you were going, because you could see this path with them that would go on for forever. There's that word again, forever. What else needs to come out? Yeah. Oh, body. And I have the Lovers here. This is Gemini. And if you've seen, there was two snakes there. Two snakes there. I feel like even though you feel like you're the only one who feels like this, I really feel like there's a reflection of the same thing. Same thing that something else is feeling. And this is what was meant for whoever, whatever, and yourself. I have two snakes here who represent also the Scorpio energy, which is transformation through relationships. That means that energy there learns more about themselves, just like the Libra energy, through the different lessons they face with others. I feel like this was what you were meant to learn. Something here was meant to happen. Especially when it comes to your intuition. Especially when it comes to seeing what's happening around you. And I get that word, how you're withdrawing. And it's like you're withdrawing more and more and more. I don't think the divine was meant for you to work so hard to get to where you're at now just to have you withdraw. That doesn't make sense. And you have to also understand, Aries, one of the things about yourself is that you're headstrong. And I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of the Rams who get so stubborn they keep going and headbutting something over and over and over. And they don't need to do it. They can move on. But they still keep choosing to go at it, you know. And I feel like this is something where you're being really headstrong with yourself. You're not understanding why you're thinking this way, but you're also afraid to communicate as well, because Gemini is Mercury energy, how we think, how we communicate. And that's the same with the Magician. And this Gemini card just happened to land on that Magician, which is, or I should say Magician, which is the Virgo sign. You're not trusting how you're seeing things, how you're analyzing, how things are adding up, and you're not trusting, again, how you're thinking about it. Afraid to walk away with this Eight of Cups, to put an end to something. Could again have to do with these others in your community. It could have to do with the collection of things that you've collected throughout the years. It also, you have a very big part in whatever this is here. You help others. You do something for these others. These others come to you. These others can depend on you. So it makes it hard because like we have these fishes here swirling around a cup. Then I have these fishes here. So it has to do with these others and how these others could depend on you. What is the last card? Last card for the block. Last card for the block. Yeah. There's some kind of tradition that you're afraid to break. It has to do with a man holding a heart in reverse. You're afraid to hurt, to disappoint. You're afraid to turn your back. You're afraid of the routine that could come after this. If you were to make this move, that's what I get. There's some kind of routine that will really change. It will really, really change if you make moves and you be true, you know, and this change happens. There's something here and you're afraid that you're not going to be able to express yourself in a certain way after this. Especially it could be again when it comes to these others. What I feel is like a distance. There's going to be a bigger distance, you feel like, and you really don't want that to happen in a sense. Oh my goodness, this is a lot. This is a lot, but you have to really ask yourself if you haven't started withdrawing this already in a sense. If you're already checking out and you're going into autopilot, then you're already going into this. And you didn't even break any tradition, any contract, anything like that. Oh my goodness. This is a lot, Aries. This is a lot. I wasn't expecting this. What I can say is I can give you two examples. I can give you a work example and I can give you a home example. I'll go with the home example first. When you have a parent who is no longer in love or passionate about their partner, the kids feel it. The whole environment feels it. The home is not as warm. They see it. We seen it in how the parent would treat the other parent. And when you don't have compassion being shared between these parents, and instead there's like a little brick wall where it's just like these automatic moves, then you're teaching a younger generation that that's what love is. You're teaching a younger generation what to settle for, what is acceptable by your example. That's why it's important that you figure out what you would tell somebody else if they came to you with this. And with the work life, it's kind of like when you've reached your limit with an employee. You no longer have happiness, passion when you show up to work. Again, you're on autopilot. Because you don't have ambitions to be there, then you don't get new ideas to improve things, new ideas to enhance your resume. And it becomes like a dead end for your career. So you have to be careful on where you keep yourself and what you hold on to, what you force yourself to hold on to. Another example I like to use when we do that is like a cat that's trying to hang on to something. And the more they try and hang on to it, the harder they try and hang on to it, the more they bring their claws out and into whatever. And they end up doing more damage. So you have to sit there and be truthful with yourself. You have to figure out where you need to be, where you're meant to go. It doesn't make you a bad person for residing in your truth. It doesn't. All right, so divine and universal energy, what needs to come out for the conclusion when it comes to the Aries frequency? I just want to show you what landed here. So you have adjacent possibilities that land on the Hierophant in reverse, you know, breaking these traditions. And the Man with the Heart in reverse. But this is telling me that you don't see that there can be future harmony here because you keep choosing the door where you make yourself the villain. And this is why you increase your anxieties with that. You're not a villain when you're truthful to yourself. And you don't see, and what I hear is that this is a part of the game of life. You win some, you lose some, but you keep going so you can still keep playing at it. When you put yourself stuck, when you put yourself in a position where you will not open other possibilities, that's, I feel like, when you give up. And I don't think it's time for you to give up yet. I really don't. What else needs to come out for the Aries frequency? The thinking woman. I think you're afraid to hurt somebody. I think you're afraid of what their reactions are gonna be. That's what I get with that. You're afraid of what they're gonna think. You're afraid because of how much effort they put into it, just like you. But I feel like, again, you have to be open to this flow. Open to when the journey says it's time to walk away. Because again, this thinking woman, she didn't come out in upright. She came out pretty close to reverse. It's this heart chakra here. I mean, if you keep closing yourself off to the journey that you're meant to take, and it could be even the journey that this other is meant to take. What happens if, again, you all were just supposed to accompany each other to this point? Again, maybe there's something here that's for this one as well. Then we have the first chakra, Archangel Michael. That first chakra is the root. It's stability, groundedness, security, vitality. When it's out of balance, stuck, it is anxiety, insecurity, fear, and restlessness. You not choosing to listen to the guidance, to face this fear. Fear is always attached to a darker energy. And these fears will stop us from going where we need to be. How can you see that sometimes rising up to face our fears doesn't mean that we're a bad person. It doesn't mean that we are out to make others' lives miserable. Again, when Archangel rides out for the divine, there's no questions asked. This one trusts in the guidance that they're being led to and the energy that it's coming from, that higher up energy. And you have that right as well when it comes to rising up and taking care of business. All right, I'm hearing one last card here for the Aries. We're going to give two more last cards here. So, Angel of Balance. This kind of says right here when it lands on the walking away, this is a part of balancing yourself. This new way that you're going to go onto your journey is going to help you balance out your mind, your spirit, your emotions, your body. A lot of different areas, because again, you're running on a lot of stress. You're not taking care of yourself, and it's affecting a lot of different areas of you. Could be making you more irritable. And what you're not seeing is the door to personal healing and happiness. And that comes again at the expense of the Magician and the Mirror in reverse, keeping up the illusion. So keeping up the illusion is what's keeping this door closed to you. That's what this is saying. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll go for the 9s here. 999. Sign to end certain phase of your life and enter a new. Prepare for changes. Aries, I wish I had something a little bit lighter for you. This is a really big dilemma in your life. But this story was brought up, your guides brought out all of this to confirm stuff for you. So don't feel like you're all alone. Don't feel like you're the bad guy for what you're being called for, what you're being called to do. That is really, really hard at times, especially when you have to face communities who are used to a certain routine. But again, a lot of people learn from us. A lot of younger generations learn from the examples that we set. The biggest thing, Aries, if it was your little brother, your little sister, your own offspring, a parent, a coworker that you're really close with that was going through this exact situation, what would be the advice that you would give them? Really think about it. Put that out there, write it down. And I want you to reread it for yourself. Because we need to be true to ourselves so we don't check out and put ourselves in autopilot, because then you're letting life live you. That's not the name of the game here. We need to live life. We need to evolve so we can get to where we need to be. All right, Aries, thank you for your time, your energy, and your patience. Don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy for coming out and helping out with all the positive messages. And I hope that you have a most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.